Today we're going to be talking about BCS scores. So, what is a BCS score? You might have heard your vet mention this before. Usually it's a number between 1 and 9. And this is what is known as the body condition score. Nestle Purina has put out a really good scoring system. So you might have seen something like this at your vet's clinic before. It's just a way to kind of gauge your cat's weight and health based on visual and like a physical exam rather than based on just a pure body weight, because you know cats, like people, are all a little bit different. Body weight isn't necessarily indicative of health. They can still be, you know, a big cat that's just, you know, quite big and not super overweight, or they can be a relatively thin looking cat and still be pretty healthy. So this is just kind of a method veterinarians use to learn more about your pet and help to guide you along in making decisions that are good for your pet. Today we're going to be looking at the cat one, simply because I have 2 cats and they are my favorite darlings. This is Stuart. He's going to be our assistant today as I kind of talk you through this. So the first thing we do with a BCS score is you want to look at your cat, obviously, while they're out and about. Stuart, you want to come here, buddy? Come here. Hop down. So we're going to look at him from the side first. Good boy. Come here. So when you're looking at your cat from the side, you really want to all you're really looking for is to make sure, you know, their belly isn't hanging too far down here and that they've got this nice little abdominal tuck right by their waist. And that'll be pretty normal. You want to make sure that they aren't too skinny. If they're too skinny, you might see some visible ribs. That's usually not a good sign. You don't want to be able to see their ribs. Stuart, come here, buddy. Next thing you're going to do is look at your cat from the top. You should, again, see a little bit of a tuck in right here, just a little bit of a waist. You don't want them, obviously, to be round, but every cat's going to carry their weight a little bit different. Some of them might be a little bit heavier on the hind end and slimmer up front. So you just kind of have to gauge where your specific cat is at. The next thing we want to do is feel their ribs. So what you want to do that is place your hands on either side of your cat and just kind of lightly move your fingers up and down. You don't want to put too much pressure. If you have to put too much pressure to even feel their ribs, that's generally a sign that your cat might be a little bit overweight. You should be able to feel them just by lightly rubbing your hands up and down their sides. A good gauge for kind of understanding where your cat's weight may be is to compare it to your knuckles. So if you hold your hand in a fist and run your fingers over your knuckles, you can feel your bones pretty prominently, right? If you can do the same thing with your cat just by rubbing your hands along the sides and you feel every little detail about those ribs, probably a little bit too skinny. Now, if you flip your hand over and rub your hand over your palm, see how you can't feel any bones? That usually is a sign that they're too fat. So if you rub your hand along that and you feel, that feels like the palm of my hand, might be a little bit too fat. The perfect amount is about when your hand is flat and you rub your hands over, or you rub your fingers over your knuckles. You can feel the bones there. You can feel some details about them, but they're not super prominent like they are when you're holding your hand in a fist, and they're not super fat like when you're rubbing your palm. So that's a good gauge to use to determine if their ribs are really fully covered in fat or not. Stuart, come here, buddy. Come here, bud. The next thing you want to do is feel over their lumbar or their rear space. A lot of cats and other animals like dogs will carry a lot of weight over their rump. Occasionally you will see fat deposits causing them to have like fat rolls along their tail or right along their hips. It's just a place like with humans, you know, everybody carries their fat a little bit differently. So they hold it in different places. So you want to make sure you feel there. You should be able to feel their spine a little bit through it, not super prominently, but enough that you can feel it's there. And they shouldn't have too much of a fat covering there. The last thing we're going to look at is something that's a little bit more unique to cats. They have what's called an abdominal fat pad. Stuart, you want to stand up for me? Come here. Come here. He's a little bit blind. Stuart, come on. Good. See that hanging right there? That's very normal for cats. His is maybe, his is probably pretty normal. My other cat has quite a large one. They should have a distinct fat pad there that's noted, but not too prominent. You don't want it hanging down really far. If it swings back and forth while they're walking, might be just a little bit too fat. It can happen though that your cat has a large fat pad and yet you feel their ribs and you can feel their ribs just fine and they're not carrying fat anywhere else. That can still be perfectly healthy. It's like with people, you know, everybody carries fat differently and it's located in different areas. The reason I'm kind of focusing on overweight cats is because there's a huge problem with people having overweight cats and it leading to health problems for them in the future. So hopefully this video will help to guide you along determining where your cat falls along the spectrum. In the description of this video, I will provide the Nestle Purina body condition system that most people use. It's a score out of 1 through 9 with the ideal being 5. And you can use that as your kind of visual guide as well as what I kind of described here in this video. And hopefully this will help you make decisions that will be better for your cat's health in the future. Come say bye. Right here, bud.